The appeal of rescuing others is a seductive illusion, a trap dressed in virtue. It whispers promises of purpose, of meaning, of becoming the savior in someone else's story. But saving people is never just about them. It's about you. It's the ego's favorite game, cloaked in selflessness, fueled by the need to feel needed. What could be more intoxicating than playing hero? The power, the control, the praise, all wrapped in the gilded packaging of goodness. People don't want to be saved. Not really. They say they do. They cry out for help. They beg for salvation. But the moment you reach out, they pull you down. Because being saved means admitting weakness, and nothing terrifies the human soul more than its own fragility. Rescuing others isn't noble. It's dangerous. It drags you into their chaos, their misery, their failures, and before you know it, you're drowning in the very waters you tried to pull them from. There's a darker truth to it all. Sometimes, rescuing someone isn't about saving them. It's about controlling them. The savior complex feeds on dependency. If you save them, they owe you. If you save them, you're the hero, and they're the grateful subject. It's a subtle power play, masked as kindness, but power dressed in virtue is still power. And power, as we know, corrupts. But what happens when your rescue fails? When they fall back into their old patterns, their old misery, their old chaos? The savior becomes the scapegoat. The hero becomes the villain. You were supposed to save them, to fix them, to make their pain go away. And when you can't, they'll blame you. Rescuing others is a thankless job, one that often ends with the savior destroyed and the victim untouched. Not everyone is meant to be saved. Some people cling to their suffering like a lifeline, refusing to let go, refusing to change. They drag you into their darkness, not because they want the light, but because they want company in the abyss. Rescuing these people doesn't lift them up. It pulls you down. And when you're finally at the bottom with them, they'll still cry for a savior. The appeal of rescuing others is its simplicity. It feels good, clean, easy. Someone else's problem becomes your purpose, and for a moment, your own chaos fades into the background. But it's an illusion, a distraction, a hollow victory. Because no matter how many people you save, the one person you can't save is yourself. And in the end, isn't that the only rescue that truly matters? There's a reason the heroes in stories always pay the ultimate price. They sacrifice themselves for others, for a world that barely notices their absence. They burn out, consumed by the fire of their own altruism, leaving nothing behind but ashes and regret. The appeal of rescuing others is the promise of immortality, of being remembered, of making a difference. But immortality comes at a cost, and it's always the hero who pays it. The strongest people don't rescue. They inspire. They don't throw themselves into the fire to save someone else. They teach others to walk through the flames on their own. Because real strength isn't about doing the work for someone. It's about showing them they're capable of doing it themselves. The appeal of rescuing others is a trap. The power lies in showing them how to save themselves. In the end, the savior is a lonely figure, loved when needed, forgotten when not. Their value is measured by their usefulness. Their worth determined by how many lives they've touched. But who touches theirs? Who saves the savior when the burden becomes too heavy? Rescuing others is a noble pursuit, but it's a hollow one, leaving the hero empty and the saved unchanged. Not everyone deserves to be saved. It's a bitter realization, one most people refuse to accept. The world thrives on the fantasy of universal redemption, the comforting lie that every soul can be salvaged if only someone tries hard enough. But reality doesn't care for fantasies. Some people are beyond saving, not because they're lost, but because they don't want to be found. And trying to save them? That's the quickest way to destroy yourself. Saving someone is a transaction, whether you admit it or not. You give time, energy, and pieces of your soul, and in return, you hope for change. But what happens when the change never comes? When your effort is met with apathy, defiance, or worse, betrayal? Some battles are unwinnable, and some people are content to drown. The hardest thing is walking away, but the cost of staying is always greater. Choosing who to save means choosing who to let go. It's not an act of cruelty, it's survival. The manipulative, the ungrateful, the perpetual victims who drag you into their endless spiral of chaos. They don't want help. They want control. They want someone to blame when their lives don't change. Saving these people isn't heroism. It's self-destruction. And heroes who can't save themselves don't save anyone. The world is full of martyrs, people who sacrifice themselves for causes that were never theirs to begin with. They burn bright for a moment, and then they're gone, leaving nothing behind but the wreckage of their own lives. Martyrdom is glorified, but it's hollow. The smart ones know better. They pick their battles, fight only for what matters, and leave the rest to those foolish enough to try. The people who deserve saving are the ones willing to save themselves. They're not perfect. They stumble, they fall, they fail, but they rise. They take your hand, not as a crutch, but as a tool to pull themselves forward. They don't demand your help. They earn it. And when you save them, it's not just for their sake. It's for the ripple effect their growth creates. These are the battles worth fighting. The rest? Let them go. The ones who wallow in their misery, who feed off your energy like leeches, who pull you into their darkness while refusing to step into the light. Walk away. Not because you're cold, but because your energy is finite, and wasting it on the undeserving leaves you powerless to help those who truly need it. Strength lies in knowing when to let go. Picking your battles isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that your resources are limited, your time fleeting, your energy precious. It's the ability to see the difference between a fight that matters and one that drains you for nothing. The masses glorify fighting every battle, but the real heroes know the value of retreat. Because a fight avoided is a fight won. The ones who demand saving are often the least deserving of it. They cry the loudest, demand the most, pull at your heartstrings until you can't think straight. But look closer. Their cries are not for salvation, but for attention, for control, for power over you. They don't want a hero. They want a puppet. And every moment you spend on them is a moment stolen from someone who truly needs you. Saving someone is an act of power. Wasting that power on the undeserving is the greatest sin a hero can commit. Power is meant to uplift, to transform, to create change. Giving it to those who squander it doesn't just harm them, it harms you. The real power lies in saying no, in walking away, in choosing battles that matter. Not everyone deserves to be saved. That's not cynicism, it's reality. The world is full of those who would drag you down, who thrive on the energy of others, who have no intention of changing. Save yourself first. Save the ones who matter second, and leave the rest to their fate. Kindness is the most misunderstood poison. It appears harmless, even noble, but in the wrong hands, it becomes a weapon. People are drawn to kind souls, not out of love or gratitude, but out of hunger. They feast on your empathy, exploit your generosity, and weave themselves into your life like parasites. Kindness is the venom of the human soul, not because of what it is, but because of what others do with it. The kind are easy prey. They're the ones who give when they have nothing left, who bleed for those who barely thank them, who believe in the good of people even as they're being torn apart. And the predators know this. They study you, learn your weaknesses, and wait for the moment to strike. They rely on your unwillingness to say no, on your fear of appearing cruel, on your desire to be seen as good. Kindness, when unchecked, is the fastest path to ruin. It's a door without a lock, a fortress without walls. Those who abuse it don't stop at taking. They destroy. They take your energy, your time, your sanity, and when there's nothing left, they move on to their next victim. Kindness doesn't protect you. It leaves you exposed, vulnerable to the world's worst intentions. The worst part? People expect it. They come to rely on it, demand it, treat it as their right. The more you give, the more they take, and the less they respect you. Kindness becomes a currency, and you're the fool handing it out for free, hoping for some return that never comes. People don't value what they don't earn, and kindness, given without boundaries, is the easiest thing to exploit. To weaponize kindness is to take control. It's not about becoming cruel. It's about being deliberate. Choose when to give and when to hold back. Make your kindness rare, a gift, not an obligation. People respect scarcity, not abundance. They'll think twice before taking advantage if they know your kindness isn't guaranteed. Because the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to stop giving to those who only take. The ones who abuse kindness thrive on your silence, your reluctance to call them out, your unwillingness to set boundaries. They count on you prioritizing their feelings over your own well-being. But kindness, without self-respect, isn't kindness. It's surrender. And surrendering to those who exploit you only emboldens them. The kind must learn to protect themselves, or they'll be devoured.